These are the most expensive military betrayals in human history, the Knights Templar. By the early 1300s, this elite military order wasn't just fighting crusades, they had become the wealthiest bank in all of Europe. King Philip IV of France had borrowed a staggering amount of money from them to fund his own wars. He was completely broke and drowning in debt, so instead of paying them back like a normal king, he decided on a much darker financial strategy. In a massive, coordinated backstab, King Philip sent out secret orders to arrest every Templar in France on Friday the 13th, 1307. He accused his greatest military allies of absolute treason, had their leaders burned at the stake, and conveniently seized all of their unimaginable wealth for himself. By wiping out his own allies, Philip erased a debt that would be worth billions in today's money. But if you think that was bad, the Fourth Crusade took backstabbing to an entire empire's level. In 1204, a massive Christian army was supposed to sail to Egypt. There was just one massive problem. They couldn't afford to pay the city of Venice for the boats they built. Desperate for cash and heavily in debt, the Crusaders made a horrific detour. They turned their weapons against their own allies, the Christian Byzantine Empire. The Crusaders violently sacked the city of Constantinople, tearing apart one of the richest cities in the world. They looted centuries' worth of gold, silver, and priceless relics just to pay off their naval bill. This single, greed-driven betrayal completely shattered the Byzantine Empire's economy and left them vulnerable to ultimate destruction years later. Things got even worse, and way more expensive, in 1757 during the Battle of Plassey. The ruler of Bengal, Siraj-ud-Dowlah, had a massive army and was ready to crush the British East India Company. But the British knew they couldn't win a fair fight, so they bought one. They secretly approached Siraj's top military commander, a man named Mir Jafar, and offered him the throne if he just stood still during the battle. Mir Jafar took the deal. When the fighting started, he held his massive forces back and watched his own ruler get destroyed. But this betrayal backfired spectacularly on India. As a reward, the British basically turned Mir Jafar into a puppet, completely taking over the treasury of Bengal. This single act of treason handed Britain the keys to the Indian subcontinent, kicking off a period of colonial rule that siphoned an estimated $45 trillion of wealth out of India over the next 2 centuries. Lastly, we have the most infamous price tag ever put on an American fortress. During the American Revolution, General Benedict Arnold was one of George Washington's most trusted and brilliant fighters. But Arnold felt disrespected, passed over for promotions, and most importantly, he was deeply in debt. So he reached out to the British with a simple, devastating offer. He would hand over the most important American fort, West Point, basically opening the door for the British to win the war. Arnold's asking price? £20,000 and a general's commission in the British Army. In today's money, he was selling out his entire country for a few $1,000,000. The British spy carrying the secret papers was caught at the last second, ruining the deal. Arnold managed to escape, but he only got a fraction of the money he was promised, dying years later in London, completely broke and universally hated. Proof that while betraying your country might pay the bills today, the ultimate cost is your legacy.